captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 First at 5.
Flu season, it is quickly approaching, and tonight DHEC has a new push to get South Carolinians vaccinated. So, okay, can you get a flu shot and a COVID shot at the same time? We're on your side with what the experts have to say about knocking both out at once.
First at 5, Hurricane Ian gaining strength and speed, and forecasters say the storm will grow stronger and faster in the next couple of days. This is some new video in out of the Cayman Islands. You can see the heavy downpour of rain, the wind that's just buffeting that area, and that's a preview of things to come, especially for all of our friends south in Florida. Meanwhile, Governor Kemp is activating state resources here ahead of Hurricane Ian.
In a tweet, he says, "We are leaving nothing to chance and will closely monitor the storm's evolution throughout the week."
People all across Florida busy preparing for the worst after living through past hurricanes year after year. Many high-rises, including this condo at Fort Myers, would have to take the brunt of the storm and any surge that comes along with it. The owner of this building is concerned that one good storm could wipe them all out, while one tourist is not sticking around to find out.
So far, they're doing their job, but a big storm, I don't think they would handle that.
Not taking a gamble if we did get stuck. Couldn't really afford to miss that time at the house and work and all that stuff.
Well, the worst of the wind and rain from Ian is expected to start hitting Florida by Wednesday, but they'll have a week of bad weather down there.
First at 5, we're already getting reports of high school games being rescheduled because of possible weather impacts this week. In Richmond County, Aquinas moving their game against Lincoln County to October 14th. Aquinas will be off this week. In Edgefield County, Strom-Thurmond and Batesburg-Leesville will now play on Thursday. We are reaching out to other local districts to see about any other cancellations or any other game rescheduling. Perhaps we will get more of these announcements as the week progresses.
So the end of the week will be a wet one, but look at it right now. What a crystal clear sky that is. A few wispy white clouds off in the distance as we check in with First Alert
Ian in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. One person dead, another injured after a shooting in Screven County. It happened over the weekend. GBI agents say their help was requested after a shooting that happened just after noon Sunday. It happened on Friendship Road. The victim, 29-year-old Roderick Denzel Jenkins, was shot and taken to a hospital, and that's where he was pronounced dead. A 19-year-old woman was also shot and taken to the hospital. She is stable. No arrests so far. This case is active and ongoing, and investigators are hoping someone watching right now has information that could help solve the case. Screven County Sheriff's deputies hope that you'll call them at this number, 912-564-2013, if you have any information.
A developing story out of Jefferson County. One person dead and 3 others injured following a shooting Saturday night. Happened at a block party in Louisville. More than 100 people were there at the party. Bullets hit several vehicles. Deputies say 40-year-old Antonio Wicker from Louisville died at the hospital. 2 others were transported to the trauma center. They're listed as stable, and the other victim has been released. Right now, a suspect has not been named, but if you have any information, contact deputies or the GBI.
A judge is reconsidering a motion in yet another case linked to the Murdaugh family. Representatives for the family of Mallory Beach asked a judge to reconsider an earlier ruling that would try defendants in their lawsuit separately. Her family filed a wrongful death suit after she died in a boating accident back in 2019. South Carolina lawmakers.
It's that time of year when doctors recommend Americans get the annual flu shot. Public health experts are especially asking people to be careful this year, saying this could be as bad a season as we've seen in years. Mary Green explains why.
DHEC says flu activity in other parts of the world could be a warning for how it may be here in the U.S., with flu season now underway.
There's some concern that this flu season is going to be a bad flu season, looking at what happened in Australia in the southern hemisphere. Usually what happens down there reflects what could happen here in the northern hemisphere.
Australian public health officials say the country is getting toward the end of its worst flu season in 5 years. Meanwhile, the season is just getting started in the U.S. for the respiratory illness. DHEC recommends anyone 6 months and older get a flu shot. The state health department also advises anyone due for a COVID booster get that too, with the new shot that targets both the original coronavirus strain and the more dominant variants now available around the country.
Our recommendation is that people get vaccinated if they're due for their vaccine. So if somebody had a COVID booster in the past, they can get this new bivalent booster 2 months after that. So if it's been at least 2 months since you've had your booster, you can go ahead and get this bivalent booster anytime now.
Now, Americans younger than 12 aren't yet eligible for the new COVID booster, but just today, Pfizer asked U.S. regulators for the okay to start offering that dose to 5 to 11-year-olds. So we could soon see that group of kids become eligible for the shot as well. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
We also got a chance to ask one of our local doctors questions about the flu season. He says you can get your flu shot anytime now. It's not too early. Dr. MacArthur says kids older than 6 months are eligible to get a flu shot. He says the CDC is recommending kids under 9 years who have never gotten a flu shot, well, they need 2. Dr. MacArthur says younger children are the group doctors are watching the most this flu season.
The concern with kids is that they just haven't been exposed to as many of the flu strains as older folks have, in part because we just haven't seen much flu in the last several years.
He says you can also get your flu shot with your updated COVID booster. Get them at the same time. The new booster shot protects against old and new strains of COVID. So if you got the old booster, he says, you need the new one too. Still to come on News 12, a bad reaction to an antibiotic left one woman without her hearing. But thanks to a high-tech surgery, her ability to hear has been restored. It's pretty amazing, Riley.
And we are tracking now Category 2 Hurricane Ian. This is going to be making an approach towards western Florida over the next couple of days, potentially impacting us late in the week. Forecast just after the break.
Time savings. Hurry in. The fall sell-a-thon going on right now at Great Deals on Furniture.
Millions of dollars taken without warning. Hospitals in South Carolina claiming patients owe money, while state agencies garnish wages and tax refunds and make a profit doing it.
What the guys charging me for?
Tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
No. Just a first alert. It's going to be some unusual weather we're not really used to seeing during the fall months, but nothing we can't handle. But enjoy the dry weather for the next couple of days.
Riley, thank you. A Jackson County woman celebrating with her family after regaining her ability to hear. And now she's thanking the Midtown Atlanta doctor who gave her that incredible gift.
Yeah, talk about a gift. Bridget Spencer has this story.
A Jefferson woman is celebrating with her family after regaining the ability to hear once again. She's thanking doctors right here in Midtown Atlanta for giving her this incredible gift. Since 2009, Wendy Weaver has had a hard time hearing. This was due to a bad reaction to an antibiotic.
I woke up one morning, December the 2nd, 2009. I woke up that morning and couldn't hear.
Weaver said she knew it was time to get a cochlear implant. She had the surgery done at Emory Midtown, and this video was taken on the day of her activation.
5, 6, 7, 8.
You okay? You can hear me? Good.
Weaver says fear is what kept her from getting the procedure, but it was the love of her small grandkids that inspired her.
I lost 13 years of my life. That's my biggest regret, is letting fear keep me from it.
Her husband Johnny says it's nice to finally enjoy music together once again. They recently went to a concert in Nashville.
She said I could hear everything they're saying. So and it was loud in there, and there was background noise.
Weaver hopes her story can inspire someone else who has hearing loss to go ahead and take that leap of faith.
Some amazing technology, and Weaver says voices did sound almost robotic on the first few days, but then became a lot more natural as time went on.
It is incredible. She says she plans to get another implant in the other ear as soon as the doctor clears her. They try to do one at a time. They do that with children too, because it can be so overwhelming when you get to hear again.
Here it is all of a sudden. Just amazing technology.
Yeah.
So we come here. Specialized programs have been funded for years in the U.S., but are states getting all their money? We take a closer look after the break.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, News 12, first at 5, continues.
First at 5, a missing child reunited with her family after being lost overnight in a Sumter County park. We talk about that search and how rescue crews finally found her. Also today, a live look here from Fort Lauderdale right now. Things are calm there, but you can see those thick clouds off in the distance. They've been that way for most of the day, and traffic there seems to be moving despite the possibility of evacuation orders. This shot courtesy of our friends at Earth Camp. That's a view that will be changing over the next several days.
New images of the storm as Ian continues to intensify. It is a big storm. Conditions in western Cuba deteriorating this evening, and they're going to get even worse tonight with significant wind and storm surge impacts expected. Meteorologists predict Hurricane Ian could strike Florida as a devastating Category 4 storm later this week. And closer to home, of course, we are tracking the potential impacts.
First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale is tracking this for us all week.
In just about 10 minutes.
Looking forward to it, Riley. Thank you. A second suspect involved in a shooting that injured 2 people at a Josie High School postgame tailgate is now behind bars. The sheriff's office says 19-year-old Jamel Robinson surrendered today at the Webster Detention Center. He was wanted on 2 counts of aggravated assault, possession of a firearm on school grounds, plus possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime.
First at 5, community efforts are continuing this evening to curb youth gun violence.
One local nonprofit has 31 kids enrolled and paired up with mentors, alumni of Josie High School, retired military, teachers, and more. Claire Allen in the studio with us now live with what they're doing.
Now, from our records, since January 8th, there have been 49 people killed in the CSRA, 32 suspects in those murders. Within the last 2 weeks of gun violence, 4 of those victims were black male teenagers. A local fraternity is making it their mission to not only stop the violence, but to make a powerful impact in the lives of every young man in the CSRA. Omega Lamplighters is a mentoring program created by the members of Epsilon Gamma Gamma chapter of Omega Psi Phi Incorporated. The mentorship program consists of various leaders in the community, from law enforcement, judges, financial advisors, teachers, to come together and be a light in the lives of young men in Augusta. Earl Eubanks is one of the leaders. He says the program aims to mold boys into being better young men in the community and curb them away from the violent streets and gangs.
We want to make our young men great. We're working on that young man by young man.
They were all of us. And it wasn't until gentlemen like us stepped in and learned how to channel that anger and channel that creativity into something positive.
Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I will have more on what the program consists of and talk with a young man who says Omega Lamplighters changed his life forever.
What an impact they're having, Claire. Looking forward to that report from you. Former Columbia County teacher Scott Hooker out on bond on charges of inappropriately touching a student in 2017.
The judge granted the $25,000 bond. Hooker must wear an electronic monitoring device and cannot have contact in any way with the alleged victim, Madison Cooksey, and another alleged Burke County victim. Earlier this month, Hooker pleaded not guilty. Hooker was arrested about a few weeks ago, even though the school district was made aware of the incident 5 years ago. After Hooker's alleged sexual assault in 2017, he finished out his time at Evans High School in Columbia County before going to Richmond County and then to Burke County.
Hours after the Georgia Bulldogs beat Kent State, one of their star defensive backs was arrested on 7 misdemeanor charges, including DUI. Sophomore defensive back Javon Bullard booked into the Athens-Clarke County Jail. He is out on bond now. UGA officials have not responded to any of this, but Bullard has started in 3 of Georgia's last 4 games.
A 3-year-old girl is back with her parents after going missing for nearly 20 hours. She had no food, no water. She was at a state park in Sumter County.
It's just amazing. They found her. Ruby Hyder went missing during a camping trip Friday night with friends and family. And while her family was setting up camp, she wanders off looking for a bathroom. Ashley Jones has more on the search and how they found her.
An emotional reunion tonight. This picture was captured the moment Ruby Hyder was reunited with her family. The sheriff says she was found just a mile away from where she went missing.
We brought in our imaging unit, our drones. We got the state law enforcement division to assist us with their aviation team as well.
Bloodhounds and campers spent Friday night searching those campgrounds.
Every camper in this campground came out with flashlights. We started walking the woods.
Rhonda Mason, another camper, tells me she began searching after Ruby's mother came by their RV calling out Ruby's name.
So I asked her, I said, have you lost someone? And she said, yes, my little 3-year-old daughter.
Sheriff Anthony Dennis told WIS during a briefing earlier Saturday morning that the 3-year-old went missing while her family was setting up their campsite around 7 p.m. Friday night. Poinsett Park is made up of more than 1,000 acres. Sheriff Dennis says Ruby wandered off while looking for the bathroom at the campsite.
Everybody was calling out Ruby, and it was terrifying for me. I have a little 3-year-old granddaughter, and it was terrifying.
But a feeling of relief now falls over the entire campsite as Ruby returns home safely in her mother's arms.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine just the longest night ever for mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Sheriff Dennis believes the lights and sirens from Friday night scared the little girl and may have sent her into hiding.
Just the opposite of what they needed to happen. But also temperatures. They dropped to around 45 degrees overnight, so there was a lot of concern about hypothermia, but she seems to be okay, which is great. Great relief for everyone all the way around. Well, another Augusta Ironman is history. Athletes had to swim a mile in the Savannah River, then hop on a bike and ride 56 miles from downtown to Hepzibah McBean Road, then back again, then finish the half marathon through a two-loop track along the riverfront, a total of 70.3 miles. The first to cross the finish line is Boulder, Colorado native Jason West. Finish time of 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 18 seconds. Trevor Foley finishing 48 seconds after that, and Justin Meltzer rounding out the top 3 this weekend. On the women's side of things, Grace Alexander makes her return to Augusta. The Kennesaw State alum takes the lead straight from the swim portion and kept it right through the race. Alexander finished with a time of 4 hours, 12 minutes, 27 seconds for her first ever first-place finish. Crossing the finish line just a minute behind her, Lottie Lucas from Dubai, and then Sarah Bishop at 40 years old, a mom of 4, finishing third. All of you deserve a huge congratulations on getting it done and getting it done really well. What a great time.
I mean, even a third of that race is brutal.
Some people divide it up into 3s and share it with partners, but yeah, they did the whole thing.
Doing all 3, amazing, good for them. Our next story sounds like something out of a movie. NASA is getting ready to crash into an asteroid. After the break, First Alert meteorologist Anthony Carpino has details on the mission. Riley?
And all eyes are on Ian, about to impact western Cuba tonight and then heading towards western Florida next. See if it'll impact us just after the break.
Millions of dollars taken without warning.
Do you feel like you've been stolen from?
I surely do.
Hospitals in South Carolina claiming patients owe money, while state agencies garnish wages in tax refunds and make a profit doing it. News 12 finds state laws to protect the patient are being ignored.
What the guys charging me for?
Profiting from patients. An I-team investigation tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're talking about DART. That stands for the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. Now, this was launched last November from NASA at the Kennedy Space Center. Now, this was been traveling about 7 million miles to finally reach its destination. Now, this small little craft is actually going to impact an asteroid out in space. Now, the whole point of this system is to see if you can actually launch an object and redirect an asteroid. Now, this has a lot to do with planetary defense. So I want to bring in some asteroids into the studio, and we're going to see how this works. So you have a 2-asteroid system here, the larger one called Didymos, and then this is going to kind of continue to rotate around each other. Now, what NASA is going to do this evening is going to bring in, here comes DART, and actually going to make contact with the smaller of the 2 asteroids, and hopefully we'll get the results back in the next day or so, see if that smaller asteroid can just get nudged a little bit. We're not trying to move miles here. We're not trying to move this rock to the other side of the solar system or anything like that. Instead, only doing that by a few minutes there. Minutes not in time versus arc minutes there. So not moving a whole lot, and hopefully what we can end up seeing is that we can actually move that asteroid a little bit. If, worst case scenario, one day an asteroid is heading toward Earth, now we're finally going to be able to know what do we do? How can we move this out of the way so that doesn't impact the surface? So pretty cool study going on. That will be happening live tonight a little bit later on, so make sure to tune in to NASA TV to find out more about that pretty incredible, very unique mission going on. Guys, back to you.
Wow, just hitting it will be a major accomplishment, like threading a needle in space. Well, there's something else really special to see in the sky tonight for astronomers and professional and amateur, just sky lovers. Jupiter, closer than usual. NASA says it'll be the nearest, the largest planet in our solar system has been to us on Earth in nearly 6 decades.
Scientists say Jupiter will appear bigger and brighter because it will only be 367 million miles away. Only, right? But this is why it's a big deal. That's almost half the distance the planet is from Earth at its farthest. So really, pretty close. Experts say the best place to get a view of Jupiter tonight will be a high elevated spot in a dark and dry area. Anthony has suggested the lake, if you can head out that way.
So get out and look up, and Riley, it should be a great night to do that.
It is, and Jupiter's been really bright in our, usually it starts in the eastern sky just after sunset. It doesn't take long for it to get above the horizon, and it's going to be the brightest thing you see out there, so it just looks like a very bright star, but the difference is stars twinkle, planets do not, so it just...
Do yourself a favor, and I hope that you learn, and in the rent, call the Mike House, the little law firm.
More than 1.5 trillion photos are taken worldwide every year, and the vast majority of those are with smartphone cameras. Those cameras take pretty high quality photos, but sometimes you might want to improve the final shot before you post it to social media.
A little touch up here and there. Editing photos can be tricky, but our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker found a popular app that makes editing a lot easier.
Have you ever noticed some of your friends' photos look a lot better than yours? Any good photographer will tell you it's not always in the taking, but the editing. Photo Room Studio is one of those apps with tools good photographers look for. For one thing, it removes anything that's distracting in the background. Like this photo of my friends in their coffee shop. If I want to make them stand out, I'll just use the Photo Room app. It uses artificial intelligence to find the subject, in this case people, and removes everything else in the shot. It instantly creates a new image to promote their business. Let's keep the sign visible. Rather than removing everything, we'll just blur the background for a professional look. I can even create an image that looks as if they're featured in a magazine. Photo Room is especially popular with sellers on Poshmark and other online marketplaces. I took a photo of this purse lying on a bed. Well, Photo Room removed the comforter in the shot to make it appear this photo was taken in a studio. Much better. It also creates terrific profile photos for LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Automatically scanning a photo in my camera roll and then placing the person's face on a solid background. There is a free version, but for more options, Photo Room has a subscription plan for those who use their smartphone camera to promote themselves or their business. There are Photo Room apps for iPhones and Android devices. I'm Jamie Tucker, and Photo Room Studio is the app of the day.
Really fancy stuff right there. The premium version of Photo Room is $10 a month or $70 a year. So if you're serious about better photography, that's the way to go.
Yeah, but you could also try the free version too. I mean, it's still pretty cool.
Free's pretty good.
Yeah. Riley?
Hey, pretty warm out there this afternoon. We did see our official high temperature at Bushfield just a degree away from 90, but luckily much cooler air in store for the rest of the week. Now look at that 7-day just after the break. We do have a first alert in effect. Scattered showers, possibly some storms Saturday, and that is going to be that low flood threat.
And that's a wrap for News 12 first at 5, but there's much more news ahead when Laura Warren joins me here for News 12 at 6 o'clock. We'll see you for that after the break.